I think the big opportunity in India is for not only B2C startups that you have seen, the Swiggies, the Flipkarts. I think it's in the B2B space. I think the large swaths of our economy have not been organized. So there is a big opportunity, whether it's logistics, we have a company called Blackbuck, whether it is the packaging space, we have a company called Bizongo, the procurement space, Moglix, the infrastructure space, there's a company called Inframarket. So there are multiple companies that today are making the B2B ecosystem more efficient through the use of the mobile phone, and both the supply and the demand chains are now able to more efficiently interact with the enterprises. So I think that's what investors are seeing, that it's not just the consumer economy, it's the entire depth of the supply chain and the demand chain that needs to be digitized. So multiple billion-dollar companies can be built from that.
Got it. And we're really seeing that optimism. But also now the buzz that, are we amidst a downturn? Is it cyclical now? And you would really have a bird's eye view of where are things headed. Considering so much of optimism has come by, is the winter really close by? And at Startup Central, we've been asking a lot of ecosystem players, investors, to know where are we really headed?
See, I think what has always been important is real metrics. It's not just momentum, and momentum is important. I think being able to grow your business very fast is definitely part of what early stage investors look for. But I think the focus getting back focus on not the vanity metrics but real metrics, I think that's really important. I would say that the other important trend that I see talking about slowdown is the fact that Indian startups are no longer building only for India now.
True, they're going global.
They're building for the rest of the world, especially SaaS. You've seen companies like Freshworks, right? So I would say that the world is the stage for the for Indian startups. So, and I think they'll have to be a little more calibrated, be a bit more frugal in the way they kind of grow. But I think there is still a lot of interest in funding and especially the early stage ecosystem. There's still a lot of vibrancy and sources of funding.
So you're saying it's not as bad as we're really making it out to be?
No, I think for great startups with great founders and who have a very thoughtful way of building their businesses, there is a lot of capital available.
Last few questions, I know you have to rush by. At Accel, you're sitting on a huge cash pile. You closed a fund recently. So in terms of focus areas and sectors, the bet on India really continues. You've bet early on, really on the ecosystem. You come in early in the stage. We've seen the massive exit you really had at Flipkart that changed the scenario. But what really will you go on to bet in the coming years as well, in terms of sectors, in terms of a checklist?
I think all four sectors are important for us. The traditional e-commerce marketplaces, which we led with Flipkart. I think there's new companies coming up there in social commerce like Glowroad and Meesho and some of these companies. So I think that is very important sector. Then the second big sector is the B2B, both India B2B and global SaaS B2B. That is a key sector. Fintech. We have done both cross-border fintech and fintech here within India, and finally healthcare. We have been one of the early investors in healthcare, so we'll continue to do a lot. So all these four sectors will continue to see focus from our side.
All right. The general sense is it's toughest to crack Accel when it comes to investing. So for all the entrepreneurs watching this, what is it that really makes things work in favor of entrepreneurs while they're pitching to Accel? What should they really keep in mind, really? If you don't want to decode the secret sauce, but largely give an overview of what works.
I think we look for that special insight that the entrepreneur has that will kind of wake us up, right? So it says, wow, why didn't we kind of think of this? So that authenticity in the space that they have picked and their ability to go deep in that space, that is really important for us. We also like early. We like going in early. So we would like to kind of go in when not everything is known, but we are starting to see some signals, and we're starting to see that the entrepreneur is kind of getting a sense for the business and is on the cusp of product market fit, or is on the verge of kind of building towards product market fit. That's when that's the stage when we like to meet companies.
All right. Lastly, before I let you go, the Flipkart acquisition, the deal sort of spurred the fact that we could give massive exits out of India. But post that, we haven't really seen a lot of action happening, which we expected would happen. Of course, the optimism stays, but in terms of exits, a lot more has to happen. Opening up the IPO market, which we're seeing the SEBI also indicate that will make it a lot more easier, so startups don't have to be domiciled outside or list outside as well.
I think it's very important for Indian startups to start building towards their IPOs. I think the maturity of any ecosystem is really indicated by the capability of some of these companies to go IPO. We are very early in our startup journey in India, less than a decade. So I think with Flipkart, what you saw was like of the first stage of a global giant valuing an Indian company. There have been a lot of smaller acquisitions, but I think what's important is that Indian entrepreneurs ready themselves and start building towards a profitable